All right, today's lesson is talking about solving systems of equations by graphing. And I've given you graph paper. We need to find where the two equations meet. So I'm going to kind of create my grid here as best as I can. And then looking at each of these equations. So we have negative x squared minus x plus 2. I'm going to leave all this work in red. When we're graphing a quadratic that's in standard form, we need to use the formula x equals negative b over 2a to help us find our vertex. So negative b in this case would be 1 over 2a would be 2 times negative 1. So our x value is negative 1/2. And then our y value is negative of negative 1/2 squared minus negative 1/2 plus 2. So this is 1/4, negative 1/4 plus a half plus 2, which is 2 and 1/4. Okay, so it's kind of a weird, we know we're at negative 1/2 and 2 and 1/4. That puts our vertex somewhere around there. Okay? And then for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor it and solve, finding where it hits the x-axis. So I want to find my intercepts. So when I factor, I'm going to, for this one, I'm setting it equal to 0 because I'm finding my intercepts, negative x squared minus x plus 2. I'm going to divide by negative 1, so I've got x squared plus x minus 2. The two numbers that multiply to be negative 2 and add up to 1 are 2 and negative 1. So I have x plus 2 times x minus 1 equals 0. So my zeros are at negative 2 and at 1. So I know I'm hitting here and here, and so I'm just going to draw this graph in like that. Now, for my other line, which is 2x plus 2, that's just a line. So I know it hits at 2, at 0, 2, and then it has a slope of 2. So I'm going to draw that in. And add my arrows. And so you can see they meet here and here. So my solutions end up being 0, 2, and it looks like negative 3, negative 4. So when we do graphing, sometimes we're not as exact because none of us are super great at drawing parabolas, but you can kind of see where they hit, and so that's where we list those as our answers for that first one. For the second one, and this one will probably be a little bit easier to explain since I think we'll be able to factor it. So with x squared minus 6x plus 9, or actually the vertex will just hit better. So for x squared minus 6x plus 9, my x value is negative b, so that's 6 over 2 times 1. So my x value is 3, and then y is 3 squared minus 6 times 3 plus 9. So 9 plus 9 minus 18 is 0. So in this case, my vertex is at 3, 0. And so if we remember when we're graphing quadratics, when we move to the right one, we're moving up, we square it. So every movement to the left or right, the vertical movement is that squared. So from 3, 0, when I move to the right 1, I move up 1. When I move right 2 from it, I'm moving up 4. When I move right 3, I'm moving up 9. And then it mirrors it on the other side of the vertex, or the axis of symmetry. So you can see my graph for the quadratic looks something like that, and my graph for my line, so my line is actually y equals negative x plus 5. So that means my y-intercept is, or my b value is 5. My slope is negative 1. So it's going down 1 and to the right 1. And so we can draw that line like that, and we can see where it meets. It looks like it meets at 1, 4 and 4, 1 as our two solutions. So that one was easier to graph because it hit, the vertex was on an actual point that we could graph easily and work with. All right, this last one is another one. It's, once again, fairly simple, just once you see it. All right, so we have y equals negative 3. That's easy to graph. Negative 3 is just this line right here, straight across. And then x squared minus 4 means when I find the x value is opposite of b, which is 0, over 2. And then my y value would just be 0 minus 4, or negative 4. Or if you just looked at vertex form, you'd say, oh, that shifts down 4. So it's right here. Using this same thing down here, I can see that when I move right 1, I go up 1, 4, 9, 1, 4, and 9. And it's going to look like that. So here, my answers, my solutions are at 1, negative 3, and at negative 1, negative 3, which it makes sense because the line is at y equals negative 3, so we know they have to intersect when the y value is negative 3. So both of them are negative 3. So that is solving systems of equations by graphing. I would always say use algebraic means to make sure you're correct, but this is another way that works.